Hello guys, compliments of the season and welcome back to another tutorial. My name is Dorothy and in today's video I'll be showing you how I made this beautiful sleeveless dress. If this is something you're interested in and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, that's not really nice, please subscribe to the channel so you get notified to when I drop new video. And before you forget, give this video a thumbs up because I don't want to hear, oh, I forgot to like the video. Auntie, uncle, my love, please like this video. Thank you. Now let's get started with the video. I'll be using this beautiful Mikado material for this project. I use about 1.5 yards. I have my net here, it's a soft net, and also my lining piece. So I'll take this off camera and I'll go and cut the portion that I'll be needing for the upper bodice, which is the half length. So these are the pieces that I have cut out. For you to be able to cut out your pieces accurately, you have to divide your chest measurement by 4 and add 3 inches to it if you're working with a child. And the half length measurement, that is from the shoulder to the waistline, is 9 inches, and I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. So these are the measurement that I took before I cut out these pieces. And for the back piece, I added 1 inch for the zipper allowance. So right now I'll pin this together because I'll be cutting the front and the back pattern together. So before I start imprinting my body measurements, I went on to rule a line of about 0.5 inch, and this line is going to serve as the shoulder line or starting line. Right here on the shoulder line or starting line, I'm going to divide the shoulder measurement I'm working with by 2 and I'll mark it. The shoulder measurement I'm working with is 9 inches, divided by 2 is 4.5. On that point I mark my shoulder measurement. I came down there by the same 4.5 for the armhole line. So I'll use my ruler to connect the line straight, which is the armhole line, then I'll extend the line horizontally and it will serve as the chest line. On the armhole line, I measured it and I marked the midpoint. On that midpoint, I went in by 0.25 inch, that is quarter an inch. Then on my chest line, I divided my chest circumference by 4 and I marked it. Now I'll use my curve ruler to connect these 3 points together to create the armhole curve. For the neckline measurement, the neck width that I'm working with is 2 inches, both for the front and for the back piece. Then for the front piece, the neck depth is 2.5 inches. So I marked 2.5 inches as the neck depth. To create the square neckline that you see on the thumbnail, on the point that I mark my neck width measurement, I'll come there and mark the 2.5 inches. Then I'll connect this 3 points like this to create the square neckline. But I want to work with a round neckline, so I'll just use my curve ruler to curve out my round neckline, just as you can see me doing. To slanten the shoulder, on the armhole line, I mark 0.25 inch, that is quarter an inch. Then I use my ruler to connect this point to the neckline. Then from my shoulder, I came down by 10 inches for the waist measurement. Okay, from my shoulder to the waistline is 9 inches. Then I added 1 inch for the sewing allowance. I mark that and I connect these points that I mark horizontally. On this waistline, I divided the chest measurement by 4 and I marked it. By now you'll be wondering why I am using the chest measurement instead of the waist measurement. Children usually have this big tummy and you want something that is really comfortable for them. That is why I measured the chest measurement on the waistline. After marking that, I added 1 inch sewing allowance on the waistline and I also added 1 inch sewing allowance on the armhole line. Now I'll use my ruler to connect this point that I marked. Now I'll go ahead and cut this out. So I'll be cutting from the waist. I had to pin this down so that it doesn't move while I am cutting out this fabric. Then I went on to cut on the side. Because I haven't taken the back neckline measurement yet, I went on to cut just my front neckline, then the shoulder slope and the armhole line. For the back neck depth, the neck depth that I'm working with is 1 inch. So for my shoulder line, I came down by 1 inch and I marked that. Then I used my chalk to create a round neckline from the neck width all the way down to the point that I marked 1 inch for the neck depth. Then I cut that out. After cutting out the back neckline, I went on to notch the zipper allowance. After notching, I removed the pins. Then I separated my front from the back. Now to eliminate any form of zipper bulge on the back piece, I went up on the waistline by 1 inch. Then I will use my ruler to connect a slant line all the way from the waistline to the point that I came up by 1 inch. Then I'll go ahead and cut that out. After cutting, I went on to open up the back piece. My pieces are ready. I'll take this off camera and I'll cut lining piece for each of the pieces. Okay, this is it after cutting out my lining piece. So I'll keep the lining piece one corner while we work on the main fabric. On the main fabric, I place my back piece on the front piece, just as you can see me doing. Both of the back piece, I place it on the front piece. Then I use my pin to hold the shoulder together because we'll be showing the shoulder first. Then I'll take this to the sewing machine. I'll go and join my shoulder, and I'll do the same thing to the lining piece as well. I'll place the back piece on the front piece, then use my pin to hold the shoulder down. Then I'll take it to the sewing machine and sew it. This is what I have after I was done joining the shoulder, and I also ironed the shoulder line open, as you can see. So now I'll place my main fabric, my main piece like this, and I'll place my lining piece on it, right side facing each other. On this part that I mark my zipper allowance, okay, I already notched that, so I'll just use my chalk to highlight the place that I notched for the zipper allowance on both sides of the back piece. Then I went on to pin round the neckline because we'll be stitching the neckline and also the armhole. So I used my office pin to first of all pin around the neckline, and after I was done pinning the neckline, I also went on to pin around the armhole. After I was done pinning around the armhole, I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and I will sew the neckline. But you see this part that I highlighted with my chalk, I will leave that side open. That is, I'll be leaving the zipper allowance open. This is what I have after I was done sewing the neckline and the armhole. You can see that I did not sew the zipper allowance of my back piece. So now I will use my scissors to notch around the neckline. After notching around the neckline, I will also notch around the armhole, and after notching, I will turn my piece to the right face. So this is what we have after I was done turning this to the right face. So now I will use my hand to arrange the seam line properly. Then I will take this to the ironing table and I will iron this flat. This is what we have after I was done ironing. You can see how neat this is looking already. Now to join the side, I will separate my lining piece from the main fabric. Then I join the back and the front main fabric together, right side facing each other. Then I went on to pin, and I also did the same thing to the lining piece as well. I joined the both front and the back lining together, right side facing each other, and I pin it. And after doing that, I did the same thing to the second side as well. I separated the main fabric from the lining piece and I used my pin to hold the main fabric together, and I did the same thing to the lining piece as well. If you want to attach a waist belt, this is the right time to do it. I totally forgot to film that part. So on the main fabric, you go up by 1 inch, then you place your belt on it. Then I'll take this to the sewing machine and I'll go and stitch by the 1 inch sewing allowance that I left when I was drafting. This is what I have after I was done stitching the both side. You can see how neat it is. And while I was stitching, I remember to fix my belt, and I already did that, as you can see. So our half length is ready. I'm going to keep this one corner while we work on the skirt part. For the skirt parts, we'll be making gathers, and I already cut out my pieces for the gathers. The length of this dress that I am working on is 20 inches, and already I have taken 9 inches for my half length measurement. So the 20 inches minus the 9 inches that I already removed for my half length, we are going to be having 11 inches, right? So this pieces is supposed to be 11 inches, but I added 2 inches to it, making it 13 inches. So the 2 inches that I added is for the hemming allowance. I cut out 3 pieces of this out, but I ended up using just 2 pieces. I don't want the gathers to be too full. I want the child to be comfortable when she put this on, and she should be able to play. But if you want yours very full, please go ahead and make use of 3 of those pieces or even 4 of it. So I'll take this to the sewing machine and I'll go and join my pieces together. And this is what I have after I was done joining the pieces, and I also went on to run my gather stitch as well. So now I'll pick the thread of the stitch that I run and I'll start pulling it to form the gathers. This is what I have gathered so far. You can see that this is quite fuller as well, but if you want to use really full, please do you. And off camera I also went on to gather the net that I'll be attaching with this main fabric. So I'll place the net on the main gathered fabric like this, and I'll go ahead and join them together. So this is what I have after I was done attaching the net to the gathered skirt. Now let's attach the skirt to the half length. So on my half length, I'll go ahead and place the main fabric on the skirt part, right side facing each other. We are not joining the lining with it. We are just placing the main fabric to the half length. Now I'm going to use my pin to pin this all the way around. After I am done pinning, I'm taking it to the sewing machine and join it on the waistline. This is what we have after I was done joining the gathered skirt to the half length. Now I'll fold the dress into 2, just as you can see me doing. Then on the part where the joining is, I'll come down there by 3 inches because that's where my zipper will stop. So for the remaining one, I'll take it to the sewing machine and I'll sew it by the 1-inch zipper allowance that I left. Then for the zipper, I'll go ahead and fix the zipper as well. This is what I have after I was done attaching the zipper. You can see that our dress is looking more beautiful as we progress. So now I'll turn this over to the wrong side so that we can finish up on the inside. So for the lining piece, you can see that our lining is yet untouched. I already cut out a flay for the lining. It's a full flay, so I'll go ahead and join the lining piece wrong side facing each other, just as you can see me doing, and I'll attach the lining to the lining of the upper bodies. Now I'll take this to the sewing machine and I'll go and join the lining. This is what I have after I was done joining the both linings. And after I was done joining the lining, I went on to sew the zipper allowance on the lining to the zip. I hope you understand what I mean. And I also weaved the lining and also the net. Okay, you can see how neat and how beautiful this looks. So I have this bow that I made that I'll be attaching to the dress. If you don't know how to make a bow, I have a video on how to make a bow on the channel. Please go ahead and check out on that video. So I'll use my needle and my thread and I'll tack this bow to the dress. And this brings us to the end of this tutorial. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell to get notified to whenever I drop new video every week. And if you have any question concerning this tutorial, this project, please leave your question in the comment section and I will attend to it. Do not forget to please like this video. It really means a lot to this channel and it really means a lot to this video. Okay, thank you all for watching. See you all in my next one.